8 NBA players who were banned from the league. Subscribe to the channel and comment down below saying I subscribe to enter this month's shoutout giveaway. NBA players are extremely fortunate because they end up living fairly lavish lifestyles, but just because they have money and happen to be gifted athletes, it doesn't mean they're not human beings who are capable of failure and making mistakes. Craig Hodges. For most of its existence, the NBA has been a player-driven league, which makes sense seeing as the game's smaller roster allows for the emergence of superstar players on multiple teams. Craig Hodges joined the NBA in 1982, and when he found himself in Chicago a decade later, he won 2 championships while playing alongside Jordan. Following the 92 title win, Hodges played for another 6 years, but not as a member of the NBA, as he was blacklisted for having outspoken political views regarding the treatment of minorities and the poor.
Okay, so here you are. You just handed George H.W. Bush a letter, and you get dropped by the Bulls,
Right.
and no team calls you.
Not at all.
Do you think that was in retaliation to that letter?
Absolutely.
Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. At the end of the day, the NBA is a business, and when you are part of a business, you need to be good at your job, but you also need to follow pre-established rules while also setting a good example for those consuming your product. Sports fans know about the NFL's Colin Kaepernick debacle, but what most of those fans do not know is the fact that the NBA had their own Kaepernick moment too. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was a great shooter, but he spent the last decade of his career outside of the NBA, all because he refused to stand for the national anthem while also speaking ill of the American flag.
Now, I want to talk to you about something that you've, probably mentioned many, many times, but, your big decision, your decision not to stand for the national anthem. Can you tell me the reasoning behind that? Why did you decide to do that?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it short. It just didn't make sense to me that what the flag is supposed to represent is not representing that. And I couldn't see myself standing up for that symbol. I felt it was diametrically opposed to what I believed in.
Greg Oden. In 2007, Greg Oden was universally viewed as the top pick of the draft, and for good reason, but it is because of this early praise that the NBA wants to act as if he does not exist. Thanks to several injuries and extremely poor play, Oden played in just 105 games before exiting the NBA forever, making him one of the greatest draft busts in history.
Holy cow, Portland doesn't need this.
OJ Mayo. The NBA really began officially evolving and enforcing their anti-drug policy in the mid-1980s. That's why you see more of the drastic suspensions during that decade. Specifically, 4 players were banned across the 1985-1986 and 1986-1987 seasons. Starting in January 1986, when John Drew became the first player banned for life under the NBA's anti-drug contract, the next month, Michael Ray Richardson of the New Jersey Nets was banned permanently after 3 violations of the league's drug policy. Then, in 1987, Louis Lloyd and Mitchell Wiggins of the Houston Rockets both received significant suspensions. OJ Mayo has been playing in China since 2016, but when he was in the NBA, he was a fairly effective shooting guard. During the 2016 off-season, Mayo was caught violating the NBA's anti-drug policy and received a ban that ended last season. And if he wasn't currently under contract overseas, he would be in the NBA right now. Anthony Randolph. Unfortunately, players that have been banned or suspended historically have greater odds of returning to the NBA, even when they're reinstated. That's further emphasized if you consider that the average NBA playing career is 5 years. Sitting out 2 to 3 seasons not only is a huge detriment to your physical attributes, but players come back with a reputation. Take for example, players like Mayo and Mitch McGary, both of whom never got back into the NBA court. Stanley Roberts, Darius Miles, and Larry Sanders played 1 more season after their suspensions. 4-time NBA All-Star Richardson ended up playing the rest of his career in Europe. When Anthony Randolph was drafted by Golden State in 2008, there was a lot expected from him, and when he couldn't live to those expectations, he was cast aside. Randolph's last game was in 2014, but he has continued his career over in Europe, where he has become an effective player who would look good on several teams. Stanley Roberts. Stanley Roberts started his career in Spain before coming to the NBA in 1991, and during his time with the association, he played for half a dozen teams. While playing with the 76ers, Stanley tested positive for a banned substance and was subsequently banned for life, and even though his ban was lifted in 2002, no team bothered talking to him again. Chris Washburn. As the 3rd overall pick, Chris Washburn's future was incredibly bright, but thanks to some poor life choices, his NBA career was cut extremely short. Washburn entered the association in 1986 and was gone 2 years later, as he received a permanent ban for testing positive for banned substances on 3 different occasions. Roy Tarpley. In 1986, the Mavericks had the 6th overall pick and used it on Roy Tarpley, a power forward who spent 6 seasons with the team, and during that time, he was permanently banned by the NBA twice. The first ban came in 1991, when he violated the NBA substance abuse policy, and after being reinstated, he was banned in 95 after he was caught drinking again. We know that posts like this can be viewed as a completely negative view of the league, so we'd like to give a big respect to the NBA players, the vast majority of whom understand what's acceptable and not acceptable under the policy. In the 1980s and 1990s, it seemed as if it was an indefinite ban from the league or nothing. Today, it's more likely that if a player is suspended, it's for a handful of games than a life sentence. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.